Hello, y'all, and welcome to our last Freedom Friday with Dana Lee. And I'm about to talk in this video about why this is our last of the series, but it is not the last of Dana Lee and live videos. So if you're here on the replay, make sure you type in hashtag replay so I know you are here with your eyeballs on this topic. We're going to talk about patterns and mind programming and how sneaky it can be in all different areas of your life. So I am the diet recovery coach. If you're new to my community, welcome. I have been helping women heal and repair their relationship with food and themselves quite extensively for the past 5 years of my career. I have been a fitness pro, however, for nearly 3 decades. 2.5 of those decades struggling, or about 2 decades struggling with food myself. It actually started before my fitness career. So I definitely wanted to pivot in my career to help women heal from this in this area that can be so. There's so much stigma with it. There's a lot of shame involved in it. Emotional eating, binge eating, closet eating, compulsive eating, restrictive behavior, all of that. That is my area of expertise now, and I help women recover, get on the path of recovery. So let's talk about this last video of my Freedom Fridays and why it's my last. It's bittersweet. However, it's actually pretty exciting because it is an epiphany I came to over the last week. And what I am excited to say is when I come upon some sort of mindset shift or some awakening, and this is also something I teach my clients, that not too much bleeding goes on anymore where I just continue to struggle through it. I can cut it off easier at the pass and be able to pivot and change direction. So it's like once you know better, you do better kind of a thing. So this is an area I noticed creating a pattern in my life that is very similar to my years of dieting. Now, if you have been a perpetual dieter, please let me know in the comments if you have been dieting. How long have you been dieting? What age did it start? Is it still happening now? Is it still something like you want to break away from dieting, but you can't? I would love to hear from you. I started dieting when I was 15, 16 years old, and I'm 46 now. So I realized in my path of dieting, what ended up happening is I kept pulling myself into believing that someone outside of myself or some diet outside of myself knew better about my body and my needs more than I did. So this could have been some sort of nutritionist, dietitian, fitness guru, whatever it was, whatever diet protocol. It was like, well, I must not know anything. I don't know my intuition. I don't know what's best for my body. I'm going to look to somebody else to tell me that information. And that was very destructive because it created a big separation between me trusting myself. I had a lot of food fear. I had a lot of push and pull and compulsiveness around food because the longer I kept believing that someone outside of me knew better than me, the bigger the wedge it created between myself and my trust and my intuition. And I just kept falling into that trap, like somebody else is smarter than me. So they're experts. And the irony of it is that I was also a fitness professional. I was a leader. And yet it was still like I didn't give myself enough credit for knowing what was best for my body. So the day came where I had this epiphany and I had a breakdown. I definitely had a massive breakdown to come to this low point where my mind busted wide open when it popped into my head, what if I stop dieting? Like I never even would consider that before, or I flippantly did, but never took it seriously because it was like, that can't possibly be the answer. Like I need to lose weight. I need to be thinner. I have to diet. But this was the first time that it entered my mind in a way that it actually felt lighter and more exciting to think about the potential and the relief that came from it. So it was like a little scary, but what was more scary was staying on the path of the perpetual diet. And that was the last day I had my fitness tracker on. I took off my watch and I never put it back on after that because I was committed at that point. What would the road to recovery of like loving myself, what would that look like if I went on that path? Could it be that the answers to my weight loss and loving myself actually like going at that rather than through the path of dieting? Clearly, 2 decades of my life were sucked away and I never got that answer. I never got that connection of I love myself more. That never came. That was a complete lie. So, what if I made a radical shift? And what if I decided I'm going to do what it takes to learn how to like myself? Not even love myself. I'm just going to learn to loathe myself less, then maybe like myself, then maybe accept myself, then maybe love myself. Okay, so that is actually the journey that I help my clients go on, because for you to go from like hating yourself and loathing yourself to loving yourself was way too much of a leap. So I don't even ask like my clients to go through that because I didn't go through that. So when I realized, okay, maybe I can trust myself. Maybe I do know more than these gurus out there. Like, what if? Here's the thing. This is my epiphany, you guys. So here I am. Okay, that part has been resolved. I can leave food in my cabinet. I have a fantastic relationship with food. It's only gotten better. And because it's only gotten better for me, it puts me in a position as a leader and a coach and a mentor to help my clients achieve that even faster and to make those connections even deeper for themselves. So it is a permanent, lasting relationship with food and with themselves that nobody from the outside can shake. Because I want to just be clear, my work with my clients is a framework. It is not some sort of rules or protocol and more information for you to follow from outside expert. That is not what my program is. My program is a self-discovery process that you're figuring out for yourself. Like right now, I have a private client who is vegan. That is very important to her. There's different like animal rights and things that she believes in. So how can she heal her relationship with food? And we lessen the food fear and develop a trust and an intuition and a respect for herself. Well, that's what we're doing. That's what we've done in a very short amount of time. Just a few months we've been working together. So it is about you discovering. You need the path to be able to sort that out and get the answers for yourself. Because when you can do that for yourself, no one can take that away from you. So here's my epiphany for the last couple of weeks is that it shifted from the diet part that I've got that figured out into, so I run a business. I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur since 2008, if arguably before that, because even when I was a designer, I had a little freelance business on the side I called Dynamic Design. Cute, right? So that was I did some illustration on the side. I worked for this company, this greeting card company. I did watercolors, and that was before when there was photo cards, and I designed the borders to photo cards. And we were in the Jacob Javits Center at the convention every year in the stationery show. So I loved that work, right? So that was, that's definitely a part of my career and my path. But I did end up opening a gym. So at that was my official entrepreneurship. And it's it's been that way ever since. So my online business, I have to do videos, and this is what you're supposed to do. And the marketing people tell you, post X number of times a day, send an email once or twice a week. You got to do a consistent video. Okay. And you know what's been happening? It's sucking my soul. I have really important things I want to say. Every time I've gone live or I share a post on social media, it is truly from the heart. But what's not authentic and what's not from the heart is the approach and the contrived way of it's Friday, I have to do a video. Here's the thing. My relationship with food, I do not schedule my eating. I eat when I'm hungry, as I'm hungry. I have a very natural organic approach to eating, and that's something that I teach my clients to trust. So I've broken away from this idea of breakfast, lunch, dinner. It doesn't work all the time. So if it's like, oh, it's noon, I should eat. Okay, I understand if you have a certain job that is like, okay, if I don't eat within this window, I get it, like teachers, so I do understand that there's, some scheduling with that. I do understand that. However, in the meantime, I'm like, how I healed my relationship with food is that I gave more space and the ability to choose, what if I eat breakfast at 10 a.m.? What if breakfast is not like this break the fast? It's so important to eat. Well, what if it's more important for me to eat when I'm hungry and not eat because it's 8 a.m.? How could that change and impact my life if I only ate when I actually felt hungry and I actually lessened my fear of food scarcity? So I trusted that food was there for me. I trusted I had options, and I worked on healing all of that. So here I am all these years later in this same kind of idea that the outside marketing gurus know more than I do about how I can show up in my business and what's going to work for me. So although this is the last of our Freedom Fridays, and the irony is I'm always speaking around how do we create more freedom in our lives? How do we look at things differently? And yet my Freedom Friday has been a source of taking away my feeling of freedom in my business and how I'm sharing my message with my people. So I will absolutely do Facebook Lives. I will be sharing videos on YouTube. I will be sharing my posts and sending emails. But here's what's going to change. It is going to be exactly how I approach food. It is on my terms, as I'm inspired, as it feels good, as it lights me up, as it's it settles it's what am I thinking, emotion, what are my thoughts, how do I feel about it emotionally, what's showing up physically in my body, my connection to spirituality. That is going to start to dictate what I'm sharing with my community, so I can be on the pulse of what's relative and helpful for the women showing up in my community, right? So if I'm DMing somebody and we're talking about something like, wow, man, I have something to say about that, and I think the whole community can benefit from that, that's what I'm going to do. That is my promise to you. And I was just blind to it, I didn't connect the dots. I didn't see the pattern of how I was like, wow, I was still on some level believing someone else outside of me is smarter than me and knows what's best for my business more than I do. Fuck that. That is ending. So I'm very excited to share this with you because although it's bittersweet, no more Freedom Fridays that are scheduled, the beauty is I'm just going to go live and it's going to be very freeing and on the pulse of what you need and something that could be relevant of I have an opinion about something happening in the media or whatever. And then that's when I'll go live. And that's when I talk about it and share it. So there we go. Madeline, hello. And I just see Facebook user. So, so I will pull up my video. So I want to leave you with two things, at least two things. One is that you are always invited, if you're new to my community, you are always invited to speak with me one-to-one about what's going on in your history with dieting and food dysfunction. And I do that through a process where I have you fill out this mindset questionnaire. And the reason I do the questionnaire is two reasons. One, because as you answer the questions for yourself, it's that alone has been eye-opening for whoever I've talked to in these calls. It is a perspective of reflection of where am I right now, how I got here. And then the second reason is when we get on a call together, I have history and context and like, oh, this is what's going on. So then when we get on a call together, a Zoom, where we can see each other face to face, that's my preference. I want to be able to see you, is that I want to get right to the goods. You're not there to waste time. I'm not there to waste time. So if you give me a little history and context of what you've been through in your relationship and your history of like, when did this start? What is your relationship to exercise? What's going on with your body? I have a bunch of questions in that. So it's realfit.tv/talk. Okay, that is my link for setting up a call to talk with me. And then the second thing I'm going to share is realfit.tv/mentorship. There are 3 ways to work with me. One of them is a 6-month accelerated program. It's a private one-to-one where we talk every week one-to-one, or sometimes if you're really in the throes of addiction, binging, it really feels like you're in a bad place and you need help getting out, we will front the calls. So you get 26 calls over a period of 6 months. That's one a week. There's a little bonus month if there's any calls we haven't redeemed yet. So you have a few extra weeks to redeem those calls. However, we can front them. So some of my clients is like, we'll talk maybe twice a week for a little while because it's intense and you need help and you need guidance and you need some stability and grounding. So that is what we'll do. So my private work is very rewarding. I absolutely love talking to women one-to-one. And a lot of times it's not even about food. It's about, well, most of the time it's not. It's about all these other things in our lives. The second tier of working with me is over a 12-month engagement. And the reason it's a year is because it takes the seasons of our lives to figure this stuff out. I am the diet recovery coach. Okay, so think about, here's what is really important. If you want to change your relationship to food and you have a history of dieting and dysfunction, like a decade, 2 decades, 4 decades, I've worked with women where they barely remember it being normal. We can still turn your life around. We can still absolutely do that because my methodology is not like anything I've seen, to be honest. So I do it over a 12-month period because we have to be able to figure out all of these other ways, like it's showing up in your life, that we have to talk about that context, relationships, intimate friendships, boundaries. How are you speaking up for yourself? Are you speaking up for yourself? Are you expressing yourself? Are you condemning yourself? What's going on? So my group program, that's the second tier. It's an intimate group. And then there's another level that is, so we have weekly calls in that medium tier. And then the third tier is the Dana, I can't afford to work with you, but I want to get on the path to recovery. This is the most, the least investment, I guess you can say, but it's also the least access to me at that level. Okay, so you get one group coaching call a month, and you also get access to the modules in the program and the Facebook group. But the mid-level tier, there's group calls we have every single week, and you also have 4 calls a year with me on that level. So we get some one-to-one time on a quarterly basis, so that way, as you are getting breakthroughs, or maybe you feel stumbled about something that we can talk one-to-one and sort it out that maybe you can't do in the group setting. So those are 3 different tiers I have available to do this work. And if you are interested, you just go to realfit.tv/mentorship, and I go over all the details there, the difference in the pricing and the programming. And if you have any questions, or you want to talk, really, we should talk one-to-one before you join anything anyway, because I want to make sure it's a good fit for you and you're making a smart decision. It's not going to be a rash, quick decision, that you're really ready to do the work and that we jive. We want to make sure we get along and that we are like on the same page and that we work well together. So that is what I'm leaving you with on this Freedom Friday. So thank you so much for being a part of this series, this video series, delivering content every single Friday for the most part, until I had some vacations here and there. And now just expect more randomness, and just out of inspiration, and in a way that feels really real and authentic to me. So that's it. That's all I got. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. And I just wanted to make sure, let's see if I can click on this. I will turn my volume down. Okay, Amy, hi. Dawn, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Bravo, living your message. Thank you. That's it. That's exactly what you can expect from me. It's like I am living, breathing, authentically showing up as I would never ask my clients to do anything I wouldn't do. I have always maintained that as far as fitness is concerned too. As a fitness coach, I'm like, I'm not going to ask my clients to do like push-ups on the BOSU or whatever it is, something on the TRX that I can't do or won't do myself. That's just, I've always operated that way. So why would it be any different here? Thank you so much. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. And I just look forward to seeing more of you in random videos. You could certainly turn on notifications to make sure you don't miss when I go live. And yeah, and I would absolutely love to talk to you one-to-one. So if that is, calling to you and you're like, yeah, I want to get into diving in deeper as to like, what is my hang up? Why can't I turn this around in my life? So realfit.tv/talk. Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Colleen. Enjoy your Freedom Fridays. I will. Now that I'm getting freedom back into my Friday, less scheduled and more like maybe I'll go live on a Friday if I want to. Just keeping you guys on your toes. Surprise, surprise. All right. Thank you so much for being here and part of this community. You matter. Your story matters. And I look forward to connecting with you on a way deeper level from here on out. Okay. I love you. Mwah. Bye.